Hi, Jen here from Jen Michelle Coaching, and today I want to talk about shedding the mask of perfectionism. For those of you new to my channel, I would love to invite you to subscribe. I release a video weekly. This is a topic that comes up in my coaching work with women quite a bit because perfectionism is just a mask that we put on to try to stay safe, to try to be liked, to not have stress or worry, but it ultimately leads to feeling heavy, unexpressed, and dimmed, and not having full access to who we are and that range of emotions that we embody as women. So let's take a dive into perfectionism and ways in which you can begin releasing this so in love and relationship, he can really feel and see you. And in the world, others can really feel and see you, and you can shine your light and contribute your unique gifts in their highest expression. Number one, no one can relate to being perfect, so it prevents us from being able to really connect, right? Because if we're having a casual outing or a casual just social conversation, or we're connecting with a man on a date or in a relationship, but we aren't willing to reveal the parts of self that have made mistakes, or the parts where we maybe feel some embarrassment, shame, or guilt, or challenge, or the parts that feel like they're at a deficit or feel a little silly or a little naive. If we're not willing to share any of those parts with another, we're not very easy to relate to, because men tend to mirror us. And so then he's not willing to share more of who he is. He just reveals those ego aspects that look impressive, that are more achievement based or rooted in only what's gone well versus all the different aspects of who he is. And so it prevents us from really being able to have that deeper connection and be seen, because being seen is what allows us to feel safe and love. But if we're trying to control another's perception of us, they can't see us. And if they can't see us, they can't feel and open their hearts to us fully. Number two, perfectionism is also revealing to where someone hides and isn't very kind or compassionate towards themselves, where their judgment internally gets projected as judgment externally. Those parts that need acceptance, love, and attention. So if someone is very critical of themselves, trust that they are going to be very critical of others, whether this is spoken or unspoken, because it's until we begin to meet ourselves with a deeper level of, hey, I'm comfortable not being perfect, or hey, it was an embarrassing mistake I made, but I'm willing to grow from it and try again. When we can authentically meet the parts of ourselves that mess up and that are very human in these loving ways, we connect to something so much deeper and rich with others, because we allow them to love us through it and love us anyway. And then we don't have to hide. And we feel loved for the truth of who we are, which is the very thing necessary for love to truly thrive. And so the invitation is to notice those areas where you're so hard on yourself, where you're so judgmental, whether it be of your appearance or the way you've handled something, or just the inner critic and the way you speak to yourself. Be so aware of your inner dialogue. Be so conscious of it. And choose to create differently. Choose to speak to yourself differently. Choose to give yourself grace, because it's in those little moment-to-moment choices where you give yourself grace that things begin to soften. And I've noticed that within my life, right? Where if I break something, I used to give myself a really hard time for it, whether it be a vase or a candle or a plate or something. Oh my gosh, like, what did you do? You know, so if someone else broke something, it was like, what did you do? But as I began to meet myself, where it's like, it's okay, it's disappointing, but it's okay. We all make mistakes, and meet ourselves with more compassion in this way. Slowly, we begin to notice, oh wow, my level of self-love and self-acceptance is increasing. And I'm actually able to be kinder and softer with others as a result of this. Self-love isn't always developed in this real-time way where it's like, oh, now I love myself. It's an awareness that grows as you observe the way you would have treated yourself before when you mess up versus the way you're starting to treat yourself now. The way you tell the truth about yourself versus what you edited and kept hidden before. This is how you start to notice this mask is falling away and beginning to really embrace and courageously step into that. Number 3, and the practice is then to continue to reveal more and more and more of yourself in this really beautiful way, in this balanced way. Not in this overshare way like we see on social media, right? It's like we see in social media the extremes. I'm going to share nothing and I'm going to be perfect, or I'm going to just overshare the whole thing. And it's like kind of like in this very loose, sometimes looks like no boundaried type of way, but instead like intentional, revealing, baby steps, fork in the road choices. I could lie or I could tell the truth. I could enhance this or I could just tell the raw version of it. Those little moment-to-moment edits where you see the clear choice and you choose to reveal your humanness to another. Yeah, I've made that mistake, or I can be really impulsive sometimes with that, or my emotions can get the best of me in this way, where you reveal versus like just take it to these sort of polar opposites that are often what's modeled like in, you know, pop culture, social media, and those sorts of outlets. And so it becomes just this very sacred, discerning practice of, I'm going to step into the truth of who I am. I'm going to show you a little bit more. I'm going to trust that I don't have to be perfect. And I'm going to connect with others from this pure, innocent, enough, and deserving space, just as I am now, and really like embracing the journey versus feeling like you've got to kind of hide until you can present that sort of final product, because that's not what life is about. And our connections are formed through vulnerably embracing the truth of who we are, imperfections and all. And so I would love to hear, if you give these steps a practice, what this invites in your own life, like where you start to notice a deeper and richer and more loving connection as a result of making these moment-to-moment choices that add up to big changes over time. I would love to invite you, for those of you interested in more of my work, I have my bundle, my digital bundle, which is a set of all of my different digital teachings and programs that I've compiled over the years. I've linked it below. This is a great introduction to my work and a way to take a deep dive into really being your most authentic feminine self and showing up with your best foot forward, feeling confident and secure in all stages of love, dating, and relationship. So check out the link below, and I'll see you all next week. Much love.